Sensei, today we are talking about Jake Paul, Andre August. We haven't talked about this fight really yet because it has been, quite frankly, a bit of a different buildup for Jake Paul here, right? It's a different fight. He's not looking to sell out massive arena with this one. He's not looking to bring in the big name. This is very much a play toward him trying to develop as a boxer, it seems.
Yeah, and also answering the call that everyone's saying that you're not fighting a boxer. He's not a boxer.
Yep.
Now he gets someone. This guy he's not an influencer. He's a boxer.
Not an influencer. He is a boxer. And this has been something that's been, you can tell for a long time, it's been on Jake's mind, this whole answering the call of fighting a boxer thing, you know?
Right.
This was something that was a big reason why he fought Tommy Fury. And he's desperately, I think, wanted the respect. Like, when this thing all started, it wasn't, I want the respect of boxing, because I don't think he looked at himself at that level. But when he started to decide, oh, this is what I'm going to do, I think he really wants that respect of the boxing community or the combat sports community to say, okay, this kid is, he is for real, or, whatever the terminology is, right? So here is Andre August. Before we get into some of his highlights, we're going to break down what we can of this fight, and I'm going to get your prediction, because as people are watching this fight, I will probably already be in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
So we're doing this a little early, but let's take a look, man. This is Andre August. Let's take a look at his record. He's 10-1-1. Fought a lot
35.
of guys here. Yeah, 35.
He looks great for 35. Shoot.
You said what?
So he looks great for 35.
Oh, yeah, he's in shape.
35.
Hey, athletic prime. We just talked about it in our last video.
Exactly, bro. Look, he looks young.
He fought a couple of guys, or 3 guys here on their debut. Obviously not the greatest record that you're going to see, but this is a pretty standard thing when it comes to prospects, which,
again, this is his pro. We don't know what's his amateur.
Yeah, his amateur. There is some amateur accolades, like some state belts, and stuff like that.
That's something he grew up boxing. This guy's
a boxer. He's a boxer. No, he's absolutely a boxer.
Crossover.
There is. I will give some credence here to the fact that there was a long layoff in his career for the COVID era, essentially, and a little bit more.
Okay.
Which I'm not gonna the reasons why we don't all know, but I do know during COVID it was tough to get fights for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
It was tough. It was a tough time. But this is a 4-year layoff, so it wasn't just COVID. There was probably some external factors as well, but I'm sure COVID had a part to play. The gap was from 2019, November of 2019 to August of 2023.
That's what happens is you don't fight during COVID, and life changes.
Life change,
work on new stuff,
right?
Especially at this level, you're gonna maybe do you get back into boxing? It's not necessary.
It's like tough, yeah. So that's from 31 to 35. He was off. He does come back and get a win over a 7-0 guy in this Brandon Martin individual, which we're going to watch, I think, a little bit of.
Wow, okay.
His one loss is not a great loss. Lost to my man Eric Abraham, who was 3-3 at the time, is now 7-16. So got TKO stopped there. I don't know that there's any footage on that fight, but
these are cruiserweights, though.
These are cruisers. This guy's 6'2". Comparatively, he's a bit of a shorter cruiser at 5'10".
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to probably see, I've already watched some of his footage. In fact, I've watched pretty much all I can of his footage, but we're going to let you see it. You're going to see a lot of body work. You're going to see a lot of left hook, lead hand action. You're going to see him looking to brawl a little bit. Right? You haven't seen that, though, with Jake to this point. You've seen him fight guys that are not as volume heavy. You've seen him fight some guys that have power in their hands, but you haven't seen guys really bite down on the mouthpiece and brawl with him a little bit.
Yeah.
With some technique. Like Nate Robinson, we just watched that fight a couple days ago. He was just running forward, but you haven't seen technique and an ability behind maybe getting a little loose inside and throwing some big shots.
For sure.
Let's take a look at some of his highlights here, and I want to get your thoughts, man. This is Andre August. I don't know. Is there music? Yeah, we can't play music. Him in the black trunks with the blue here. Yeah, he is big. Well, step in, jab.
Cruiser at 5'10", goals.
And you look, facts. And you look at, he's throwing hammers.
Hands. Oh, yeah.
Like, these are not punches to feel out process. This is round one, and we're throwing hammers, son. Stepping into range behind it. Boom, boom.
Beautiful, beautiful work.
Looking to tee off. And
off the temple.
We just throwing. Doom, doom.
That was his last fight?
No, this is some older action. I think this one might have been his last fight. He's fought two guys with the last name Martin, so it's hard to tell which one.
Okay.
But this was an interesting one because this guy Martin is 6'4".
Bro, monster. I was wondering.
6'4" southpaw, and he was just going to work on the inside here. And what intrigues me a bit about Andre Augustus' lead hand, very snappy with it. Watch this. Boom.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. There's some damage there.
Hook. Oh, yeah.
And there's a nice little feint to set this up, right? Huh. Froze you. Boom. Over the top. A little snappy with it. And there's power in that lead hand and the backhand, to be fair. And you see kind of where he loves living, right here in the pocket, right?
Yep.
Holds you close with that clinch and then rip the body, then go upstairs. Level change.
Hammers.
And combination punching, too. Like I said, he can get himself into some trouble here with a little bit of the unsteadiness and the footwork and being off balance with stuff like that.
But he knows he's got him, though.
That's what I'm saying. This guy is getting worked, so he's like, whatever, I'm just throwing stuff. Combination again.
Combination. Sharp.
Boom, boom, boom. Right hand over the top. Double jab right hand. Chopping with that right hand. Boom, boom, boom. Some violence behind that, dude. And again, just combinations, dude. Hammers. Boom, boom.
Heavy
boom.
hands, bro.
Not a lot of setup, but he knows what he is. He's like, so hold this freaking left hook to the body and then right hand over the top and then again and again.
Ooh, nice combination.
This is exactly where he wants to be. He's like, oh, you just want to sit on the ropes? Cool. Which is, again, look at that right hand lead and step out.
Stuck him.
Which is, again, why I'm looking at this fight, and I do expect Jake to win this thing, but I'm telling you guys, it's not
a tough fight.
It's not an easy fight. People are like, and we'll get to it in a second, but people
he has better fight IQ, at least I've seen, than Tommy Fury.
What I'm seeing here is as a guy that understands inside game better than any Jake opponent I've seen.
Yeah, for sure. We're talking
what I'm
about. Looks comfortable. You know, he's not just staying outside.
About a little frame right there, too.
Mm-hmm. Like, look at that. Beautiful.
Sinks that body shot in. So let me just, underneath. Boom.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, bro. And again, there's not a lot of rush here either, right? Like, he understands that he's not just bellowing in with shots and trying to swarm, right? There's a patience and then a set, frame, bang, bang. Clubbing shots. He said, how?
Yeah, bro.
You're sitting on the ropes.
Better. He's actually better than I thought he was.
Yeah, that's when I got the footage, I went, uh-oh. He's a little better than I thought. Now, are we going to sit here and proclaim that Andre August is a world championship level boxer? No.
No, that's not what Jake's not ready for that either.
Exactly. And I think that, and again, this is more me being the mouthpiece of the community, but before I get to that, just your thoughts on what we just saw.
Yeah, bro. This guy, when you're talking about boxers, sometimes there's guys at this level who are just have like really good intangibles.
Yeah.
Or like they have a couple of really good attributes.
Yeah.
They're bigger, stronger, faster, and they're really strong, right? They're knocking everyone out, but you see them some skill here, some seasoned skill.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This is why I'm like, okay, I thought this guy, based off his frame, I was like, okay, probably just a big hitter. This oh god.
Uh-oh. You got it?
Like, I'm good.
All right.
I thought maybe he'd just be sleeping fools, but he's boxing.
He's boxing and he's putting it together in combinations. This is the thing. If you're a Jake fan, this is what worries you.
Yeah, you haven't seen Jake has not done fought anything like this.
No. Like Tommy was a good volume puncher, but combination puncher is not something I'll give Tommy credit for.
Like, not an inside fighter.
He threw in combinations, but he mostly landed with his lead hand. And I don't mean with power. It was
when it gets close,
and then clinch, right hand, separate, pop. You know what I'm saying? This guy hasn't really like his clinch work is more hands here, lean on you, separate and throw. That's what I'm saying.
Clinch work.
It's just pocket work.
Right.
So this is what I'm saying. If you're a Jake fan, this should worry you.
I think exactly. But I think this is one of those situations where I think Jake is not going to get Like it's like if he wins,
he will not get the credit of beating this
guy.
guy.
Not get the credit he deserves, right?
Because you've already seen, and this is where I was going to go with it.
And if he loses, it'll be like the same thing. Doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Oh no, if he loses this is why I am still kind of like, I understand what they want to do.
Yeah.
Or what Jake wants to do. And it's very commendable. And I think if he loses this is going to be catastrophic, man.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends how dangerous this guy looks, you know?
If he looks like that,
night.
and he gets like, he throws one of those overhands and, you know, on the chin. Jake's got a hard head though, man. But
yeah, but still,
and he's got decent head movement. But here's the problem, right? The problem child. If he loses, you know, what was the gain of winning, if that makes sense? That's the question you're asking. Like the gain for them is that he gets experience, he gets a legitimate win. Not that his other wins aren't, but you know, as his goal, this is a legitimate pro boxer thing.
You win like this, I think that now the boxing community too is like,
hold on a second, right?
Now he's in our sport.
Right. Now he's actually taking the steps.
He's not doing the other thing.
He's not doing the MMA thing, crossover, whatever. That's a boxing match.
He's not doing influencer boxing. You know, he's boxing now.
Right.
You know, he got because it was the MMA fighters with Woodley and Askren and even Anderson being one of the goats of striking. Still
didn't give him that. Yeah.
Retired MMA fighter. This guy's, he got a bit of a layoff, but he's still a professional fighter, boxer.
Yeah.
Amateur career, right? You know, been in the game.
Been in the game. I think
different.
Yeah, I think that the 4-year layoff is probably going to have a bit of a factor, right? His last fight was in August, but it's one fight coming off 4 years. We'll see. Now, you don't just forget how to box, right? He doesn't forget that part. But I just wonder about, you know, I think they're going 8 rounds again. I don't know, actually, but
wow.
You know, the amount of pressure and pace we're going to see, because a lot of these fights that we've seen from him right now have been pressure and pace, right? We're going to see how he holds that. But, dude, like I said, I do not think in any way this is an easy fight for Jake. Like, this is a fight, bro.
No, listen, every fight that Jake is in, except for
Ben.
Let's get rid of Tommy Fury for a second.
Yeah.
Besides Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Let me think.
Woodley was a tough fight.
Even Nate. What I'm saying is, besides Anderson Silva, Jake had more boxing experience than his opponents.
Fair.
Including Nate Diaz, right?
Yeah.
Everything that Jake has done.
Because of what he's done in the last 3 years. Up to that point. 4 years,
right.
For sure.
He was more comfortable boxing.
In that sport, yep.
In that sport, besides Anderson Silva, and he's older, whatever, right? But Anderson still had some more experience, but boxing, but not a lot, right?
Yep.
And then the one guy who had clearly more experience than him, he lost. So he's 0-1 against guys who are more experienced. I think so he's going in here with someone who has even greater experience, in my opinion, than Tommy Fury.
Yep.
Right? So even a more traditional boxer in his own right. So I think that's the part where it'll get lost. Because that's what I look at. That's why people talk about like, oh, their opponents. I'm like, Jake has been able to. The opponents have been tough because obviously Jake has been boxing a long time, but he's at least had a bit of the advantage in that sense to kind of even the playing field, right? To make it a level playing field. I'm not saying Jake was like, oh, like.
But no, you have to like, regardless what you feel about Jake, and I already know what people are going to say in our comments, like, oh, glazing, whatever. You have to give credit to the guy. There's not a guy at a world championship level right now that we're fighting these kind of guys at 7-1 or in their 8th fight. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's a thing.
Minus
that Jake brings
the amateur career and
but
the fact that he wasn't boxing boxers.
It's a good point. Like, you can't find this guy on Gervonta's record in his first 10 fights.
Yeah.
You know, you can't find this guy on Floyd's record in his first 7-8 fight. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of guys until this new wave. Like, Andy Cruz just won a belt in his second fight. There's guys like that. Lomachenko is the same way. But
yeah, I love it.
There's not a lot of guys that had this kind of start.
Loma had like 500 amateur fights.
That's what I'm saying. And like Andy Cruz, same with Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz is a freaking Olympic gold medalist. But Jake is doing this without an amateur career. And you have to give that some sort of respect, regardless if you don't like the guy, regardless if it's a him versus KSI thing and we want to play team sports. You have to give credit to this. Even if you think, and here's another thing that we just have to talk about. People are saying this guy is the equivalent of Joe Fournier, and I'm just like,
That's wild.
It's the craziest thing I've heard maybe in a while, and it's just so blinding to what you're actually seeing. When you watch this guy fight, there's danger, there's violence, there is a purity to what he does.
Joe had a bit of the crossover in him.
He was a white collar boxer. Like there's nothing wrong with saying that. That's what he was.
No. Yeah. So we're not even close to the same thing here.
No, and I think that this guy again, because of the danger he provides, with the lack of upside, really, like this is a great win for Jake if he wins. This is a great win. But business wise, there's not a lot of upside from fighting this guy.
No,
and they know that. They know that
after. I don't think fight night, but after, if you win.
For Jake, I think I don't honestly, the business side of this, I don't think, I don't know. It's not a business move. It can't be, because if it was a business move,
it's one that gets you there though. It's like an important step, a piece of the puzzle, because if he does this, right? Because if he does this, right, there's a level of respect now that he gets from the community that he doesn't get anymore. And how does that change the way that he's spoken about? And does that give him new opportunities? Hey, you can't say he didn't fight a boxer anymore. Now does that give him new opportunities?
Maybe.
Or now professional boxers saying, hey, maybe Jake is only a couple fights away from getting actual fight an actual boxer, in terms of how they see it. If he beats somebody
status
like this, like is he actually legitimately on the path now?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too.
To do that, so
it's, in my opinion, I look at it and go, okay, this is experience. This is, if I'm looking at the roadmap, which I don't have the map in my hands. I don't know what they want to do next, but I would say this is a way for them to test and see.
Yeah.
Is that Tommy rematch available? Because I have a feeling Jake's going to want to get that back. And also now, like I said, the experience of having that, and then let's say he goes and fights Tommy. That's another pro boxer. And then you start to build, like we're talking about, you start to build that status that, okay, that's 2 now. You know what I'm saying? Like he's actually trying.
He said he wants to be a world champion. This has to be done. So he has to do it anyways.
That's what I'm saying. You at some point you were going to have to do it. Now,
wild.
This is not the point I expected them to do it, which is why I give so much respect to it.
Yeah.
But here we are, fight week, Sensei, and we've looked at his footage here. Let's look. I mean, Jake doesn't really have any new footage out, but maybe we can go back and look at the Nate Diaz footage and just kind of look, just refresh ourselves on what we're getting here. But here we go, man. This fight, when I look back on it, like, that right there was the biggest issue, man. Just getting his flow, his rhythm interrupted time and time again by stuff like this. Where he's been able to counter guys when they come in. Tommy just kept going with that jab, and he just was not ready to see that. And even on this next clip, boom, gets hit with a jab. That's a rhythm interrupter. He's still in front, but boom, gets hit with another one. And there's the combination.
But do you see a little bit of the erraticness on the inside, right?
From Tommy?
From Jake. No, from Jake. Like right here. Like
that was a nice right hand, bro.
Beautiful combination. So
he's a lot wider with his stuff, huh?
A lot of very erratic, right? You're not seeing the level of comfort yet. Like,
and you're seeing him just kind of
from his opponent. Which August is
and a lot of the punches are tight, and he's very smooth and he's patient.
Yeah.
Right? That was Jake's, even there a little bit too, huh?
Yeah, you can see the skill gap difference.
Tommy looking to counter. Nice uppercut.
Even from Tommy. He's fast, but he's a little erratic in his reactions. Great left hook there from Jake.
But this was the problem in the fight too, though, is like Jake had great reactions, parry, throw, but there was nothing after, right? It was one shot and then cool. Where Tommy would come back with combinations, or at least he would throw some combinations right hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to say. When I watched this performance back, it just felt like that was a nice slip inside left hook, though. It just felt like Jake was not in rhythm. Nice right hand. Not in rhythm and not able to throw combinations because of the onslaught and pressure. I'll tell you what, watching this back, Tommy did have some decent combination punching here. But again, Jake there's no stopping it, right? Jake just not able to reset and throw, frame, straight back kind of with the feet here, right? Just walking straight back, straight back. And then when he does throw, it's 2 more behind it from Tommy. Dude, it's not a bad pick. It really isn't. Like, when I first saw this matchup and I started going through, I'm like, okay, Jake can win a decision here. And then, I don't know why I went back and I just now went back and looked, and he'd won 2 unanimous decisions in 6 rounds, and I'm like, uh-oh. Like, these last 2 wins are 6-round UDs. And by the way, they aren't close UDs either. 60-54, 60-54, 59-55. 60-54, 60-54, 59-55. This is for a Texas light heavyweight vacant belt.
Wow.
This guy's for real, man. And I know he's older and all that, but this is an experienced, real guy. And the closer we get, and we always do this, like the fight gets closer as the fight gets closer, if that makes sense. Like in your mind, the fight does this. Like we did the same thing with Nate Diaz. You and I were going, that's not impossible for Nate to win this fight.
Right.
Same thing with Anderson. We were both like, yo, I picked Anderson. I was like, Anderson's going to win this thing.
Yeah.
But this is one of those ones. And we're going to keep doing it with Jake because the fights keep getting close and he keeps leveling up the competition. And I don't know that I can sit here and be like, this guy's, better than Tommy Fury. I don't know yet. Right. But from what we've seen, at least on the inside work, the guy is more experienced there. So you're going unanimous decision. I'm calling the action, but I can see how both fights or how both guys win. I could see Jake winning this fight.
100%.
But I can also see Andre August winning this fight. It literally is a fight that's going to test him like he hasn't been yet in ways that he hasn't seen yet. So, comment section, you let us know what happens in this fight. Again, a lot of risk on the line here for Jake. A big risk. But potentially reward right behind it. Let us know who wins, Jake Paul or Andre August, December 15th, live this Friday from the Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando, Florida, live on DAZN. I will be there, and I will see you guys there. So what happens next? Guess we'll find out.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then I go